Okay, thank you.
Hello, and welcome to today's Confessions of a Global Changemaker show. I am delighted to introduce you to my soul sister. She's like I've got so many amazing mums all around the world. And José is like another one of my mums. Whenever I'm over in the Netherlands, José looks after me while I'm there. José has an incredible event planning business. She is our global events director for the Brand Builders Club, has a successful business running events for other people and supporting them to make sure that their event delivers such an amazing experience for their customers that everything runs seamlessly and smoothly. And I wanted to tap into this Wonder Woman's brain, because obviously I've got access to this Wonder Woman all the time, but you might not do. So I thought, I'm going to sneak her onto the Confessions of a Global Changemaker show, and let's see if we could get some really good strategies around events. So if you've got any questions at all about running events, especially running online events, if there's something that you're having to pivot, there's that word again. If you're having to pivot from running physical events, now you're running them online. There are very different ways to run those events. And so if you know somebody that's running events or they're pivoting as well, please tag them into this video. Welcome to today's show, José Pieterson.
Yay! Thank you, Sandy, for being here, for asking me and give me the opportunity to support others in having their amazing, successful, smoothly run event. And I like to call myself the architect of it because I like to design it.
Yeah, and that's literally what you do, isn't it? You've got a really smooth process for how you run events, and you've run small events, you've run large events, you run all of our Brand Builders Club events. So José looks after all of our Brand Builders Club members weekends, which is really the only type of event that we run now, because everything else is online. But it takes work, doesn't it? There are similarities in running an event, full stop, but then there are differences between running a physical event and an online event. So José, do you want to take us behind some of the architecture that goes into running a successful event?
I think the most important thing, whether it's online or offline, is to find out for yourself, the event giver, so to speak, what is the purpose of your event, because that's all depending on all the circumstances that your event is held on, whether it's live or not. If you are given, so to speak, a time, an event around time sharing or timekeeping, make sure that your event is strictly on time, short, and whatever it is. So that's what I mean with the goal and the purpose and what you want to achieve with your event. That's the main red thread through all that is happening with your event or at your event.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the entrepreneurs and purpose-driven change makers watching the show right now, they might be thinking of turning their knowledge into events or running workshops. How many of you are thinking about that or already doing that? Could you put it in the comments so we can see? And by all means, if you've got an event that's running, put a link to it here so that we could all jump in and have a look at your event. It might be something that somebody here wants to join in on. So definitely pop your link to your events here. José, most of the entrepreneurs that are running events that I know, they make the purpose of the event about the money first. They think, I want to earn this much amount of money. Therefore, if I create an event, that'll be an easy route to getting that money. Not really that easy, is it? How many of you have run events thinking, easy, no. And then you're at the end of it, you're just like, I don't know if I'm going to run another one of those.
No, and just with starting your business and just what we liked about with for example, the Brand Builders Club, but it goes for any business. If your purpose, your goal of your business is to make money, then you're in the wrong business. If it is all about making money, stop, because that doesn't work, and that's the wrong fuel to make things successful, smoothly run, whatever. So Yeah, money is important, and you know me, Sammy, when I'm on top of it, it's all about the budget, and I keep an eye on the bare budget because that is important, and that's
Right.
also a part of the architect. What are the costs? What could be the benefits? And if it is a very beneficial, well, thank you. But if that's a plus, but that should not be the goal. The goal should be sharing your knowledge, inviting people, supporting people. That's whether it's a summit or a workshop or a training or a training days, if it are multiple, it must be all about your prospects, your clients, your future clients. That must be your main goal, sharing. That's
Well, I think
my point.
it's part of the. Thank you, Jose. There's several reasons, isn't there? For most of us, we're already serving people, so our clients come to the events, but then we invite new people to come to the events that we don't know yet. So there are two real things. There are two real energies that are happening at the same time, isn't there? There's the conversion of strangers into friends.
Yeah.
And then there's the engagement of the clients that you're already working with to then upserve or cross-serve or down-serve to something else that you're doing, or to become part of the next thing that you're doing. Viola, hello, it's good to see you. Facebook user, it just says Facebook user, but you probably can see your name on the comment. I can't see it. You say, hello, Sammy, love the teardrops. You both look great. Thank you. We've both got our one drop done. Yes, if you didn't see, One Drop Movement launched 2 days ago. So please go to onedropmovement.com and get yourself your own One Drop Unity pendant. Join us, become a One Droppreneur, and become part of the global movement that we're building together to collaborate and do the most amazing things together. Abby, hello. Hi, both. It's all about connection and how we can serve. It totally is. Abby, are you already running events? What sort of events are you running? Viola, the same. Love to know what kind of events you're running. And like I say, if you've got something coming up, either a webinar or an event or a workshop, if you're doing something like that, get the link to it in here, because there might be somebody that wants to jump on there and join you on your event. So
and if people have questions, whatever, please ask, because I'm available now, and afterwards I will look into the comments as well. But for now,
thank you.
Ask
questions. Yes. Now, Jose, one of the things that you do really, really superbly for us is to negotiate good deals with venues and hotels and on food and water. And I mean, you do all. What are some of the things, and I know some of the answers to these, but you're going to be like the oracle for this, right? What are some of the things that event places and event managers try and sneak onto your receipt without you looking, that you get charged for? Because we've had quite a few things, haven't we, that have been without an evil eye. So it's good for you if you could share some of those things. Then all of our people that are running events, when we get back to the physical world, you'll know what to look for.
But actually online is the same, like we're now on StreamYard. What are the costs for that? Be aware of what you agreed to, and with a hotel or a venue, or when you rent something, you rent AV equipment, for example, make sure that all that it's limited till what you want to use for it. So if they charge you more, then it is obvious, because it's not in what you agreed to. So it is very important that upfront you know what you want to do with those, that what you hire or that what you use or whatever, and give them always something to a little extra on the line, between, let's say, between 40 and 45 people. Don't say specific 40 or 50 or 60, because there could always be some difference. So be aware of that, and make sure that there's a maximum in what you agree to when you are in a hotel for something.
Yeah.
And you talked about negotiation. When I negotiate with whomever about something, I always keep in mind, what is the win-win-win? because when the other party benefits for what I'm bringing, or the event organizer is bringing, then they will do more their utmost to make it a success, because when my event is a success, it's a success for them as well. And that is the point where you can talk about the price range, or the extra stuff on the table, or the supporting things, you know what I mean? And so always keep in mind not what's beneficial for me, but what's beneficial for the other party as well, and therefore my attendees. So then you create a win-win-win situation.
Yeah,
And
well, I mean, one of the things that we did from that perspective is to look at hiring the same venue for a longer period of time, because they tend to give you better rates if you're going to secure a contract with them.
yeah,
But one of the things that we've found, I just want to say hi. I've got my phone up here with one of our, we're on live via 5 channels right now. I can see Pimberley is climbing all over behind you. Hi,
he's
Pimberley.
famous that too.
So we've got Fiona, Brigitte, Mark. It's lovely to see you, and those that are joining us here. Yes, the win-win approach works really well in business. Thank you. One of the things that we noticed when we were running physical events was they'd sneak things on, like bottles of water at £5 or €5, right? We ran an event and there was, I don't know, like an extra €90 or something. And we were like, where, how has this gone so far over? It's not just a few euros. And it was because they'd put bottles of water out on the tables and not told us. And so all the delegates came in, started helping themselves to, well, these bottles were €5 each.
Yeah,
So you've
$4.75.
got to think of these things before, like if you haven't got a problem, if it's built in the price, then no problem. But if it's not built in, or they add extra ones on, which is what they did in our case. We'd already paid for a certain amount of water to be on the table, but then they added a load more. Of course, you can't take it off once you've got it on there. Mark Buckland, hello, it's good to see you. So, Jose, when it comes to planning a webinar, for example, that's very different to a physical event. What are some of the, do you have like a checklist? Do you have something that you work to make sure it's consistent each time?
I always advise someone to keep some sort of checklist. Everyone works in a different way, but at least you need a time frame for one thing. But what I think is most important, and what a lot of people who do webinars forget, is never do a webinar just by yourself, so alone, so to speak. Have someone next to you that looks at the comments, say, okay, now it's time for your next section or something, you know, or, oh, they ask something, I make a note, we come back to that later. If you did do that all by yourself, you're not focused on the message you want to get across. And so with the webinar, at least have 1 or 2 people around you, create a small team, and that could be, of course, an online team, that doesn't matter, but someone that could support you, because otherwise you get distracted for what you want to share, and that's not what you want. You want to be strong and solid with your message.
Yeah, and there's a few things to take into consideration now that we've come through what we've come through. Everyone's going online. Just want to put a shout out to Anne Hayes. Hello, one of our fellow co-authors of The Law of Brand Attraction. If you haven't got your copy yet, or you've been under a rock and you haven't heard about it, go to thelawofbrandattraction.com and get your copy, so that all of the proceeds from the book can go to the Clear Sky Children's Charity. Nikki from Italy. Nick is in the house as well. One of the things, Jose, that that's happening a lot now, obviously Zoom had some issues when everybody started flooding it, and they've increased their security measures. So for those of you that are running Zoom calls, or if you're running Zoom conferences, one of our fellow members, Sharon Gaskin, she ran an incredible event today called Trainer Talk Live, and she booked me 6 months ago to speak at this event. So it was meant to be a physical event, and of course everything's have to happen online now. And she's found a brilliant resource that she's using called Giraffe Pad. I'm going to bring the founder of Giraffe Pad on for an interview, so you can get to test this technology as well. So I've literally been with him today, networking with him, and I think he's got some great tips as well. He's been in training for, I don't know, it's like 18 years or 20 years or something. So he's been doing it a long time and has developed a system to make it easier for him. and now he's rolling it out to other people. But what you'll find is when you're delivering Zoom, and I don't know how many of you are using Zoom to deliver your sessions at the moment, you still have to think now about when you go into your presentation mode, you can't see the chat. So you can't see the chat and see the presentation at the same time, as José's saying. So it's always handy to have a co-host. So if you've got somebody that can join you, is to have a co-host. Lubna Zaru, she's our Brand Builders Club ambassador, who is also in the Netherlands with you, José. You and Lubna have been growing Brand Builders in the Netherlands for the last 2-3 years now. And so Lubna, usually she's always on most of the calls, and she'll say, do you want me to co-host? Yes, please. Because the other thing is, when you're in presentation mode and then you've got people requesting to join, well, you need a password now. So you have to keep coming out of your presentation to accept the person, go back into the presentation. It's a faff. So I think, José, that's a really good point, is to just always make sure if you're going to deliver a live session that you've got a co-host, somebody that can enter people into the Zoom room if Zoom's what you're using. And they can keep an eye on the comments as well. So if you're in the middle of training, they can say, oh, we've got some comments here and got some questions when we've got a natural break. And it just adds some flavour to it as well, doesn't it? Like the radio, when they all banter off of each other, it just brings another energy to it.
Also, but it's also handy, and a lot of people forget it, especially nowadays when everyone is using the internet. The chance of having a technical issue is rather bigger than when you were alone on the internet, so to speak. So when you do have someone next to you, you have a support, so you can be supported, and you have 2 minds or 3 minds to think about the same system. Or he says, oh, let's change to that platform, and you can do that together. So it's not only about the time and the support and the comments and the sharing and whatever, but and letting people in, but it's also very beneficial when you have technical issues or you want to avoid technical issues. So that would be a golden tip, so to speak, for me as well.
Brilliant. Awesome. That was great. That led on to some really good information. I like how this is just a flow show, free flow show. Samantha writes, hello, it's good to see you. I've got my various different devices showing me who's where. We are going live via 5 channels right now, so I might not be able to see you right now, but when we finish, I promise you I will go through and I will catch where you've been connecting with us. We got another comment coming here. Anne says, very helpful. Still waiting for your copy of the Law of Brand. Oh, I can tell you, Anne. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good. I don't know what stock it is that Andrew has used, but it's really smooth. It's like a baby's bum. Not that I stroke babies' bums like that very often. This is very helpful. I see those 1 drops. Boom. Can't wait to receive mine. I know yours is in the post. James St. Pierre is watching. Hi, James. If you've got questions about events, workshops, webinars, seminars, now is the time to ask them. If you're thinking of running them virtually, if you're thinking of running them live, then get your questions asked here, because we can answer them for you and everybody else gets to learn from them. José, what's one of the biggest mistakes that you see event managers and people who are trying to run their own events making?
I hate to say it, but most of the time, a big challenge always is that there is a bad or a lack of good administration, registration, everything around administration.
Yeah.
I know that there was a guy that I talked to, blah, 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 blah. Didn't have the right name, don't have the phone number, didn't have the email address. So that's one thing, but also from the attendees. Make sure that you have all the information that you could have from your attendees, the people who are coming, whether they are live or physical or online. It doesn't matter. If someone signed up for your webinar and they paid for it, make sure that they could be on your training session. And if there is and they forgot about it, make sure that your co-host send them a message. Hey, did you forget you paid £100 and you're not here? What happens? Make sure that you have, and that's simple administration, simple registration, but it shows it gives you a way of looking very professional on what you're doing, and that's what you want. And if you are professional as an organizer, so must your product or service be that you offer them. So
Yeah,
that's also,
it gives
again,
it
win-win.
first, last, and lasting impressions, isn't it? If they get a good impression at that point, then it
Yeah.
gives them the impression that the experience that follows that is also going to be as good. One of the things that we noticed when, because we ran a lot of events, gosh, Jose, I mean, up until just before Corona, we were running up to 34 events a month, weren't we?
Yeah.
And they were like all over the world. And Jose was managing all of those, running our Brand Builders Club like masterminds, which we call Thinkubators, which we now do every Tuesday. If you haven't been to a Thinkubator yet, you can go to brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator and register yourself onto one of our next masterminds, because I'm doing them live every Tuesday. It'd be great for you to come and join us. Jose's at some of those as well sometimes. And we were running so many events. Mark, hello. We were running so many events all over the world. And then like Corona happened and all of those events stopped, and now everything is online. But one of the biggest things that I've certainly noticed is that actually, and I don't know if it is because of Corona, maybe some of you have an opinion on this, but there's been more people really taking part on online stuff. And in my experience of the last 2 months, I think I've been more busy in the last 2 months than I was even before that. I'm just not traveling anywhere. But I still feel as busy. So, I don't have time to turn up to all of these sessions. So I wonder what's happening now that there's so many people really connecting with online. Maybe it's they're wanting connection, and if online is the only way to get it, then they're going towards it. What do you guys and girls think is the reason why the increase rate of people turning to online training has dramatically increased? They haven't just said, oh, well, that event's not running, so I'll just go to it another time. They're literally thirsty for jumping onto online content. Philippa Bennett's in the house. Hello, Philippa. So yeah, I've noticed that, and maybe you've noticed that as well. Jose, what's
one of my thoughts about that is that because we are locked down in the house, so to speak, we don't have loss of time by traveling. We don't have loss of money before staying in a hotel or a venue, parking place, going with public transport. All those elements that cost you extra time has been moved out. So there's more time, in my opinion, to follow any online business if you're working from home. I'm not always at home, but I know that saves a lot of time. It's much more easier to go online. And the benefit, one of the biggest benefits of having an online webinar or whatever, is that it's always recorded. So I can look it back. And now more people are looking it back and respond after 2 hours or 5 hours or the next day. So there's more traffic around your online webinar or what you're doing.
Yeah, I think one of the other things as well, and I've just got it on the screen there, is if you send a message to your delegates, if it's online, then you could either use a messenger bot or you could use text. I always ask for an email address and phone number, no matter what event, whether it's online, whether it's offline, whatever. I always ask for that phone number, because as Jose says, your co-host could be reaching out or sending a text to them. I know that, for example, when we were running our events all over the world, we ran an event where we tested it in Canada, and we sent a text message out to all of the delegates that morning, and we had a 100% show-up rate, which even for people that are paying, that people were paying to attend it, but even people paying don't always show up. So we found that we were like, right, okay, that's something we're going to do. And we built that into our system. So every time we run a physical event, the messages go out to people. And you've got about 80 characters to be able to send in a text message. So, just little things like that are the things that make the biggest difference. And it's all that, if you take care of all the little details, all the big stuff then takes care of itself, doesn't it, Jose?
Yeah, exactly. But it's also a show it's also not a show of, it's a proof of interest in the other person. And I think that's matter. And that's how not only you build a community, but you build a firm line with your prospects and your clients. With my former business in the bookstore, I had 75% regular customers every day. And not because of just my product, no, the face behind the product and the attention that we gave them. And that goes for any business, and especially online, because a lot of people think it's cold because we're not face to face, we're not physical in the same room, you know what I mean? But you can like say a text just that morning or the evening before, hey, looking forward to see you that morning. Oh, tomorrow. Oh yeah, let's let them know I have problems with my car, I'll be late. Then we know, oh, someone's coming late. No, that's interest, personal interest.
Yeah.
And I think that makes your business, give them more attraction from the right people, because you give, you care, and you attract that.
Yeah, and it's I think as well, like when you get to the point of running physical events, it's also really important that you think about what all the costs are going to be for running that event, because you might think, oh well, I'm going to put an event on, I'll have 20 people in a room, we'll charge, I don't know, 47 euros or pounds. And then you look at the hotel and you think, oh yeah, it's only 500 euros, that's all right, it'll kind of break even and blah, blah, blah. And then you get there and you realize that you've got to pay for the screen, and that's 200 euros. And then you've got 50 euros for the projector, and you've got all of these costs that add up. When we run our events in America, for example, the rooms are very cheap. Like you look at the room rate and you go, wow, that's really cheap. But you have to buy a coffee. You cannot buy the room without buying the coffee. So they do a really, really low rate on the room, but then they charge you. So we ran an event. We had a Brand Builders Club Members Day out in, I think we were in Fort Lauderdale, and the room itself was about $500 or something for 100 delegates, for $500. But by the time they'd added the coffee and everything on top of that, we had $2,000 to pay out. So, just be very careful, make sure you get them to send you in writing absolutely everything. We had a massive issue. No one would have known it. But when we ran our Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit last December, which this year is called the Changemakers 2020 Summit. So we're going to be in Miami, Ann. We're going to be out there.
Working on it.
Jose's working on that with Anne. So we had a massive problem, and basically we thought the hotel included the screen. We had 300 delegates. In fact, we had something like 150 people that were live streaming in as well. So we didn't only have the people in the room, we had the people outside of the room to think about as well. And we didn't realize that the projector didn't come with it, because when we went to look at the room, the projector was down, the screen was down. Well, the screen was in the room, but you've got to pay to have that screen pulled from there to there.
And that's why you need to write down everything you see, and write down everything you want, and ask if it's for free. It's include. No, don't ask if it's for free, because then they say, oh, can I charge you? No, ask if it is included. That's the best question. If it's included, because then you don't speak about the rate or the price or whatever.
Yeah.
But you talk about service, and that's more general. Yes, that's included. 8 out of 10 times they say yes, that's included. But if you say, is that for free? They think, oh, can I charge you? Yes, I charge you.
Yeah. It's a good differentiation of language there.
Yes.
Nice one. Nice sneaky little black hat trick there, Jose. One of the other things, because I mean, that was a very costly thing for us, because when we realized we didn't have the screen, then we realized that even though we'd paid £400 to have the Wi-Fi connection, which was just one cable that they already owned, but we paid £400 to have that cable so that we could live stream and it would be a really good connection. we then realized they weren't including any of the other stuff as well. We ended up paying an extra £7,000 for an AV company to come in, and at last minute, you've got enough going on that you do not want to be trying to find another £7,000. I think that event in total cost us about £62,500. Well, didn't cost because people paid for their tickets, but that was the outlay for it. So, and an extra 7,000 is quite a lot on top of that. So just be mindful for those of you that are getting to the stage where you're starting to promote a physical event, because, I think we're pretty safe, especially by September for sure. It sounds like pray we don't have a second wave. But, if you're starting to plan, I know people that are planning physical events and, they're giving their 3-month lead time to promote it and fill the event, which is a good lead time. Yeah. But, you've got to take these things into consideration. You don't want to be bitten on the bottom. No. So, José, now you've been running events for a long time. What's one of the biggest mistakes you've made when running an event or managing one? Your biggest learning?
In the beginning, thinking that what I thought I had agreed with people wasn't agreed, because I didn't concrete the agreement. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then you go to someone and said, "We talked about it. I thought you agreed." Yeah, but you didn't have it on paper, so I thought it wasn't a value anymore. So, but we talked about it. Yeah, I know we talked about it, and so
blatant.
One of the golden tips that I can give everyone: never assume anything. Never assume. Always make sure, but don't assume anything. Even when you talked about it, you think oral conversation are concrete. No way. So that's what I learned in the beginning, and when I work as an architect of business events, I always have pen and paper close by, and if not, I have my phone and I talk into the dictaphone always.
Yeah, I think that's also key, because if you're dealing with any kind of event manager, you only need them to go off on maternity leave without telling you they're even pregnant, which also happened to us, and you can and their person that replaces them doesn't realize there's an event already booked in the diary, and then they double book you, and it's not their problem.
No.
I think we've had it all over the last 3 years. Well, 6 years we've been running events in total. If you've got any questions about running events, running webinars, you're not quite sure of the structure of it, then do let us know. José, you are putting together a mini course, I think, that is supporting business owners that want to run events, want to run webinars, want to run virtual summits. What will it include in that? Because I know you're just brainstorming that at the moment. What are you thinking? And maybe we can help you to brainstorm that. And Pimberley's obviously up for it as well.
Yeah. Well, what I would, I surely want to put in, but I don't know where. I don't know if anyone works with a script, because I have scripts for everything. That's a tick for me, so to speak. But I have the impression that a lot of people say, well, you do not know a script. I know it by head, and it's not that a big issue. But a script for example, logistics, isn't perhaps not necessary if you give them a workshop for 2 hours. But if you have a training or a workshop for 4 hours, and you work with special materials that people need to have for doing an assignment during that workshop, then you need logistics. And you need to have a script for logistics, because you have to do that at everyone that's in the room, team or the speaker, whatever, needs to know what's going to happen and how much time it costs to get the things in the room or out the room. I think that I'm going to say something about scripts.
Yeah. So
I don't know whether because for me it's very logical.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I guess if you're following a system, that's what we're talking about here, really, isn't it? It's creating a system, you know, especially if you start to bring other people into your organization as well. Or if you have an event management team that come in and start becoming part of the operations of it, then everybody needs to be working to the same script, don't they? You don't want everybody doing their own thing. That would be a nightmare. Someone says here, document everything. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's how you can make any webinar, seminar, whatever, beneficial.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it, that's a tip I also want to give. It doesn't matter if it costs you now, let's say, 200 or 300 pounds or euros, or whatever. If it is very successful, you have another one, and people that attracts people, and then you have a profit of 1,000. So that 300 loss, so to speak, was the investment for the other one.
Yeah.
Plus you had the experience of
seeing it in completion, having a vision for it, isn't it? Anne says, following a system is key. I have only done one live event and it was a bit overwhelming, but I had a coach to guide me through it. So scripts, guidance, and templates would be very helpful. That's great feedback. Thank you, Anne. Jose, I look forward to us seeing this mini course or whatever it's going to be unfolding. I definitely want to get that out to everybody as soon as you've created it, because I think most people that are watching this or tuning in or listening will be thinking about how they can make it easier for themselves.
My plan around it, because due to some private things, but I think somewhere in July or August. Those are those before 15 August. That's my deadline for myself. So
we heard it here. You've got a
I'm saying it. August 15th is the deadline, but I hope sooner.
Okay, well, I'll look forward to that, and obviously utilize all of the amazing Brand Builders Club members over in Brand Builders so that they can help you to come up with it. I think that it'd be really powerful to have them help you build it, you know, from a content point of view of what would they like to see, because everybody in there is running events, or they're delivering training, or they're consulting in some way. So having checklists would be really helpful. As we come to the end of this interview, is there anything that you would like to say before we wrap up?
One of the questions I always have is that people think about designing an event is also about attracting prospects. That's the marketing part. And people get connected. Oh, I want to run an event. How do I get people into it? No, that's the last part. I do the first part, you know. And that's what I want to say to people. So think of that if you're good in marketing, brilliant, but that doesn't mean that you're good in events and the other way around. Those are two separate lanes towards the same success.
I like it. 2 separate lanes towards the same success. I love it. Jose, thank you so much for showing up.
Welcome. Thank you for having me the chance to share it. Yeah.
Yes, my One Drop sister. Please do go and check out onedropmovement.com. I launched it just a few days ago, and it's all about this little thing that we're wearing. So go and check it out. I'm sending orders all over the world all the time. So no matter where you are, I've probably posted a One Drop there. So go and get your One Drop, join the One Drop movement. I have just finished designing T-shirts as well. So if you're a guy and you're like, oh, we've got key rings, we've got T-shirts, we've got lapel pins. We're almost ready for those. So you can pre-order them. We'll send them out as soon as we're really happy with them. I just love that we get to play together. Jose, you've been there right from the very beginning of One Drop. So thank you for just all of your juicy awesomeness all along the way.
Big hug through you too. Bye, darling. From the Netherlands.
Sending love to each and every one of you. We'll be back next week for Confessions of a Global Changemaker. If I haven't interviewed you yet, yes, you, that right there. If I haven't interviewed you, why not? Contact me, drop me a message, send me an email, sammy@howtobuildabrand.org. Get in contact with me whatever way you need to, but make sure that your butt is in this seat on this show. This show isn't about me. This show's about you. I want the world to know what you do, why you do it, and how you can change lives and be that ripple maker for others. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Jose, give my love to Pimberley. I haven't squeezed my little.
I do it for you. I do it for you.
And
Okay.
take care, guys and girls. Have an amazing weekend. Sending you big love. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.